YouTube gonna kick in. Yay! Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to the rationalinvestor.com's Broiler Chicken Show. Actually, it's kind of cool. Look at that. It's already on the dashboard. How does that happen? You guys are quick. Chris on top of the ball, although I say I was informed this morning that, and that's what always happens. You start building people up. Oh, you're the best. You're so awesome. You're so awesome. You're so awesome. Uh-oh, we screwed up. So we needed to update the latest video. I think I got the latest video on there, Friday's daily brief on there. So thank you for the feedback in the lounge. Whoever it was like, hey, where's the video from Friday? So I think we got that taken care of. But anyway, welcome back to the show. This is our weekend offering. I suppose I talk to the public on Wednesday evenings. We do a fun little crypto show. And then on Sundays, I do this hour or two rant interacting with the current level 1 course students, just in case they have any follow-up questions following their session with Graham. And I think they are motoring their way through. Yeah, there he is, chatting away, doing his thing. So I suppose if somebody could just give me a heads up when they're done and invite them to come on in, we can jump on over to their questions when that happens. We've been trying lately to have a bit of a structured format to these daily briefs. Good luck, Brian. So we'll try and do sort of like maybe the first 20 minutes here. So 5 minutes of news, 5 minutes of econs, 5 minutes of breadth, and then 5 minutes of levels, maybe 5 minutes of levels, then 5 minutes of breadth, but you know. And then that way, I think it gives you a pretty good idea of what sort of I'm seeing. And then that way people can also sort of index these daily briefs, get a little bit more structured to these things. So we'll see how that goes. It's always an adventure. And if you hear, let's see, Chris, do you have the magic bells? There we go. So if you hear the magic bells, then that means that I've got to move on to the next topic. But I am allowed to have a few minutes to start off. So we'll hit the timer here. Why don't we say hit the timer at 10:44? And then that way we should have this summary done by, say, 5-10 minutes after the top of the hour. I'll keep an eye on that. And so every 5-10 minutes, if you could hit me with a whack of bells, hopefully it'll keep me on course. So, you know, I mean, the irony of doing something like a news summary is it should be pretty damn obvious what's going on in the market. Well, not what's going on in the market, but what's going on in the world. And if anything, it's a bit better when things are not so tenuous in the global stage, things like actual wars. I mean, God, when was the last time we had a war in Europe? And I mean, like, I'm talking like this guy over in Eastern Europe. It sounds to me like he actually wants to instigate a nuclear war here. So what do you say to all that? Obviously, the emotional tensions, and I did notice this, if anything, my job at TRI and my job in this community is to try and just sort of inject a bit of sort of PMA into everyone's life. Obviously, there are very high emotions and very high tensions on both sides. I mean, basically, we're at the point of humans murdering each other openly. Saw a couple things this past week that just sad. And I don't even know whether this human species is going to even be able to move beyond this stage of our development. It almost feels like it's an inherent part of our species Saw some things this past week that really don't make you very proud to be a human being. And I have to say, if I would be very interested to see whether if the people inside the new Soviet Union, um, even if they were made aware of some of the things that the Russian military and the sort of insurgencies and stuff like that are doing within Ukraine, whether they would continue to support, or whether the totalitarian dictatorship just doesn't even let them see the truth. But I say a little disappointed in the human species this past week, and here we go. I'm already going to get the PMs. As I said, I think probably the most important thing I can possibly say to the community and even to the public right now is, the irony of it all is that I'm even saying this to little local radio DJs that I interact with. There's a really cute little DJ, local DJ, and it's so sad to see like the little people in this world, how they're affected through this. Poor girl, she was a local radio DJ that Liam loves to listen to the radio when we're in the car. So I spend a lot of time listening to local radio here in Vancouver because Liam loves his radio, and I spend a lot of time driving Liam around. And the poor girl, I'm going to say she's relatively young. She's probably not a student of history, so she probably doesn't understand the historical context of all this. But I love kind of conversing with her and trying to explain like things like the crazy celestial crap that's going on in this universe. But I kind of, I put this tweet out a while ago. This is going to be a bit of a tough slog for us humans, everybody. As I kind of said there a few minutes ago, I think probably our number one job is let's just get through this, please. Somebody, even if we have maybe some people that are in the, you hate to say things like it's too late now, but for God's sakes, can we, I even put a tweet out today kind of saying, like maybe these guys can all come together, and because they're talking about maybe meeting, because clearly the Ukrainians are like, fuck off. So this isn't going the way that Mr. Turning damn ugly. But maybe everybody can just take a moment. Putin was kind of hoping it would go. And it's turned, even the Russian generals, and just say, like, do we really need to be having this fight before it deteriorates into really, really bad shit? Because, like I said, Mr. You-know-who, he's kind of talking about things like getting the nuclear weapons ready. It's like, fuck. So there's your news. What else are we going to talk about? I mean, what's worse about this is the tyranny in my country. It almost looks laughable now in comparison to what's going on over there. And yet nothing's really changed. If anything, this is relativity. Thank God. Well, and I don't even know. I mean, you don't even want to say this shit because you don't want to jinx it, and I don't even want to talk about it. But I think, and what I kind of posted in the lounge, and what I really want to drive home to people is, let's not get sucked into. Ironically enough, I was even telling this to Chris earlier. I mean, this is the whole point of the fear, greed cycles that I teach. Is that at the top of the greed cycle, are we out waging war on each other? No. Everybody's all fucking having a great old time, party on, blowjobs in the White House. Everybody remembers that reference. And then flip side, this is the peak, and the peak technically was supposed to be the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018. So we're like 3 or 4 years into this already, but this is actually when you're supposed to feel the shittiest, the worst. And how do you feel? I tell you, most people are feeling pretty damn pessimistic right now. So pessimistic that they're actually openly talking about violence amongst each other, which 10, 20 years ago, people were, they in Eastern Europe, when all the Soviet states fell, right, in that sort of that greed cycle, a happy-go-lucky kind of time period, they called them the Velvet Revolutions, where basically all these totalitarian dictatorships started falling like a house of cards, and not that much blood was lost. That's not the case this go around, is it? Anyway, as I sit and listen to all the people and all the rhetoric around the world, I'm quite surprised. I don't know whether surprised is the right word. I guess pleasantly pleased to see that a good portion of the world is like, oh, this is crazy. What is this guy doing? And hopefully, he doesn't, get cornered, and he resorts to just horrific contemplations here. Let's hope it doesn't have to go that way. Yes, the last comment I'll just simply say is yes. You hate to say something like this because it's just going to get you in trouble. But on the topic, I used to have in this school, I'm going to actually teach you about a gentleman who used to be a client of mine. And he used to be the worst investor possible. And I'm going to teach you a tool that I built to sort of tell me exactly when Willie was going to call me and exactly when Willie was stupid. And it very effective. I'll tell you that much, Crackers. Very, very effective tool. But the poor guy, he was terrible, terrible market timer. Anyway, he used to always have an expression. He was a Norwegian. So you'll know exactly where I'm going with this. But I'm not going to say that these people are good and those people are bad. I mean, there are bad apples in all of these damn crops, and there are good people and there are good humans and bad humans. If anything, what I'm really hoping for is this is what I'm doing here at TRI in a weird sort of way, is trying to balance out, because I know that there are a lot of cocksucking sons of bitches that will take your money in a heartbeat. And will not try and help you. In fact, Dogecoin bullshit, they'll actually suck you into the mess. And they'll get stinking rich out of it because they're actually selling into your buy orders, but they're not going to tell you that. So, that's the evil side of this human species. And of course, in love and war, same sort of thing. Man, very, very evil sides of these damn species. And if anything, in a weird sort of way, in my stupid little, I don't give a fuck attitude, that I don't really know a hell of a lot. But what I do know, if you can learn from this and I can just give it to you, then maybe we're sort of balancing out sort of that karmic wave in the universe. So that's why I do a lot of what I do. I'm trying to be one of the good guys. I don't know. Terrible attitude sometimes. I swear like a sailor. But on balance, I'm trying to help you people. I really am. That's the God's honest truth here. And I'm not like getting rich off of this shit. Me and the buddy, we hang out. I guess only you guys in the hangout can see this. I'll show you on YouTube. I can sense, of course, the damn planetary issues. I'm trying to convince, not convince, that's not the right word. I'm trying to convey a sense of, we don't all have to be assholes. Let's be like the buddy here. He's just nice and happy-go-lucky, and, try to think of the brighter side of life. If anything, and what I've tried to tell people through this is, if you are feeling anxious, if you are feeling stressed, if you are feeling pessimistic, if you are feeling stressed out, I mean, for God's sakes, if you're in a war zone, do whatever you can to try and get safe. But my message, if there is a message, is actually this is exactly how you're supposed to feel exactly right now. Just want that to sink in. Like, this is the fear cycle apex. This is how you are supposed to feel. You are supposed to be very fearful, and it sucks. But if anything, what I want you to try and take away from all this is, and it's just it's so ironic that, these sentiments actually get bastardized over time. But just like Roosevelt says, right? The only thing you really have to fear is the fear itself. Now, obviously, that goes right out the window if some fucker is shooting at you and shooting missiles into your fucking apartment complex. Oh, and I'm moving into a building that's on the 19th floor. Oh, that's a good idea, Brian. Way to go. Smart thinking. I hope to God it doesn't get that bad here. But, our fate is our fate. So, and I certainly don't want anybody through all this thinking, well, Brian's sort of siding with, George Soros and this camp and that camp. And no, not at all. And that's the worst part about banksters and stuff, is that they will legally fuck you over. And what usually ends up happening in these kind of scenarios, and I think that's big, keep in mind, there are a lot of people that said that Hitler was basically put in power by these same banksters, the exact same types of people. They put Hitler into power. And then Hitler at one point said, well, wait a minute, you guys are playing me. You want me to go after the Soviet Union? Go fuck yourself. And then I think eventually he had to go after the Soviet Union, and that failed. And of course, rest is history. But just understand that these banksters, they will legally do whatever they can to try and screw you over. I find it very interesting, sort of topical, and it gets you in a little bit of trouble here with Big Brother, is to a certain degree, I do believe that, and keep in mind, the people that you actually see in public are not the people that are driving the bus. They are the public faces that have been hired because they are agreeable. So somebody like this, where the hell is she? Now I can't even find it. Anyway, is this my feed? Maybe it was last week or something. This doesn't look like it's my feed, though. I think this is maybe. Is she in here somewhere? I don't know. How long ago was this? Couldn't have been that long ago. Anyway, I did see Stewart was getting quite upset about it. And it makes sense. I mean, he should be. Darn, I can't find it. God, I tweet too much. Homeboy, you tweet too much. You never shut up. Who knows that song? Do you know that song, Chris? What are the real words to that song? Actually, that would have been a funny song for them to overplay for Trump. Homeboy, you tweet too much. Never shut up. Anyway, I had a response to a comment about central bankers. I put out a tweet a week or so ago, but man, I can't find it. Like I said, I tweet way too much about how the central bankers in Europe, I think, are going to try and use this as an excuse, like, oh, we're going to slap sanctions on Russia. So while we're at it, we better make darn sure to regulate the shit out of that cryptocurrency shit, because Russia's going to try and use cryptocurrencies to bypass the sanctions. So, and I thought it was interesting that it was coming from ECB talking heads. That to me sounded absolutely perfect. I wanted to show you the image. Of course, I can't. Don't know why. Hey, remember that guy? I haven't seen him in a while. Darn. Oh, is that it? No. Damn it. I don't know where it went. Anyway, how can I do this? Oh, I saw someone. Actually, it was all about this. It was this feed, so maybe it's somewhere. I can find it somewhere in here. Nope. Darn. Yeah, I'm such a loser. Anyway, I was tweeting out. That's kind of weird how I can't find this now. Anyway, long Twitter stream about how central bankers are going to basically use this tool, but I don't know how do I get to. There she is, your favorite lady of mine. Sorry about that, everybody. It's driving me nuts. Sorry about that. Anyway, I finally got there. So Sjord was passing this around the site, going, this is not good. And of course, she's a lawyer, so really, I mean, the irony of it all. Yeah, but I can't remember what her name is, but Miss Bitchface or something like that. So I don't know. There you go. Eh? I know, but I was trying to make a joke there. Terrible. Anyway, so I do find it interesting that the banksters are going to try and spin this. And what I find fascinating, and I wonder if this is going to happen, is, of course, now the sentiment is, my God, we have to stop our Russian reliance on energy. So what does that mean? Is that more of sort of Klaus's agenda? So let's goad this Putin guy to the point where he actually, forces some sort of war conflict, and that's going to force, the ending of that Nord Stream pipeline kind of stuff, which is going to force more reliance on sort of nuclear generation for electricity or something along those lines. And of course, that's going to force the hyperinflation that all the banksters need to reset the system and all that bullshit. So I'm not saying that there aren't these nefarious characters at work here at the same time too. This is just a shit show all around, no doubt about it. But all I'm going to say is just please keep in mind that I think that there's actually bigger forces at work that we can't even really explain with our stupid little monkey brains. But I think there are bigger forces at work that I think that unfortunately, and I'm sure people that are advising Putin are also talking to him about this. But I think that there are bigger forces at work here that we just need to sort of, just take a deep breath. Just, if you don't have to do something, if you don't have to go across the street and confront that neighbor, if you don't have to go to like City Hall and bitch about something right now, maybe just let this pass. Maybe in the spring, after this event has played itself out, maybe then you sort of, have your gripe. And if anything, if we could just appeal to the people in Eastern Europe, for God's sakes, tone it down. You're going to get us all fucking killed here. I'm very disappointed in this gentleman, Mr. Putin. Very disappointed. But silly humans. All right. So I was supposed to have the entire 20-minute summary done by now. Way to go, Brian! What did I get the news summary correct? I think I got that part done. It's gonna be one of these. All right, so there's your news. I mean, it's all about this fucking Eastern Europe craziness. Econs, interestingly enough, and I do find this also fascinating, that if you actually start, we got to work on this. This isn't sufficient. Sjord, if you're watching this later on, we got to get this page like this. This is insufficient for video production purposes. Where should I go? Let's go here, and we'll go over here. I like this particular news dissemination service. Look how they changed their colors. You're seeing a lot of that around the world right now. Anyway. If we just do let's do the most important news just so we sort of can summarize what the hell happened in the world. That's the week of the 20th through the 26th. What are we here? Next week, this week, previous week. I guess that's what we have to do. There we go. So it was actually kind of a light day for light week for like specific heavy duty news, but I think you're actually going to see a lot of this. Actually, that's interesting reading there. So, yeah, coming back to life a little bit here out of Germany. Europeans, they got hit pretty hard with that Omicron, but at the same time, too, it wasn't nearly as deadly. So it feels as though a lot of sort of the angst over this, it's like, yeah, you're going to get sick, so enjoy it. But I don't think you're going to die. So I'm seeing a lot of that kind of reaction. In fact, so you can see there's a bit of a perk up in activity. Because of these perk ups, though, you might find that the U.S. Fed says, "Look, we don't have any choice. Economies are now coming back after the sort of Omicron scare, and so as a result, we got to raise rates." There's an interesting new home sale. So of course the housing market is sort of the big beast here. Most of this data, I don't really see anything, of course, that says weaker economics. I suppose U.S. durable goods, that came in a little bit lighter than expectation, but that was after a new high here. And anyway, the point here is there's no M's or W's. It just looks like it's all over the place. Personal income, personal spending, hopefully they flatline a little bit. I would imagine personal spending should back off a little bit as people are a little bit worried about, things like rising energy prices and stuff. And I sort of noticed it all over the map. Like Chris and I were looking at, I was thinking about buying a PlayStation video console. So getting kind of bored killing stuff in WoW. I want to go kill stuff in PlayStation land. I don't know. Is that new? I always love those games, the Grand Theft Auto ones. Man, that was back like 10, 15 years ago now. Anyway, wondering if a new version of that's come out. Anyway, blah blah blah. So Cole's here saying. And I suppose it's just like there's a ship of Porsches and Lamborghinis, I think, maybe off the coast. I don't know whether it's California or whether it's off the East Coast, but it's burning out on the sea. And it's so ironic. All this stuff is sitting offshore. It wants to be delivered into the market. There are hungry consumers that want to buy. And, of course, all the regulators won't let the supplies onshore. So it's turned into this funny bottleneck situation. I wonder if there are ships of PlayStations out there floating out in the open ocean. Anyway, I did notice that the prices of them continue to tick higher. I think they're about 20% higher than what they were this time last year here in Canada. So welcome to a wonderful world of inflation. And really, I would argue that now we have to worry about inflation for the next 40 years. This first batch of it should be all about the Great Reset. Like if we look at our big long-term charts. Where are we here? Yeah, I guess it would be here. These big long-term studies. Yeah, that's the one I wanted. So I think we're sort of Bretton Woods sort of time period. We're getting awfully close to that. It was interesting to look at the relative inflation data coming out through the early 1940s, running basically double-digit inflation. So what a surprise, we have inflation running away now. And, of course, they do the big Bretton Woods reset, which sort of sets the stage for the next growth cycle. And I think that's exactly what's going on now. It's almost identical. So if you were going to sort of backtrack and say, where are we in sort of the time frame? I think if you're a student of history, which I sort of am, I think the comparisons are the early 1940s. Interesting how Germany seems to be dragged into a conflict now with Russia again. Oh boy, here we go. Anyway, I think the Germans are now agreeing to provide surface-to-air and surface-to-surface missiles for the Ukrainians. And that's a dangerous precedent being reset. Now we've got Germany basically back militarized and funding factions. So for the longest time, the world didn't have to worry about that, but that's back. I suppose the next step is we're probably going to have to remilitarize Japan and get them sort of back in the fight to somehow offset China. Oh, God, here we Anyway, they always say if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. But I guess the historical conference I would make is we are in sort of that early 1940s period. And then if you go back 80 years prior to that, 1860s, was there any big military brouhaha in sort of like 1861, 1862, somewhere in that area? Any of the historians? You Americans? I guess technically I am an American. Anyway. Cole says civil. Nope. Yeah, I guess it was Civil War, wasn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, there we go. So it is interesting. When did we last go to war with China? That's an interesting conversation. Because technically we did have a proxy war with China in 1950. So if history is repeating itself and we seem to be right on cue, then we'll probably be at war, like a proxy war. Maybe Korea blows up again. Like, I mean, hell, if Eastern Europe can fall right back into the shit that's happening there, which is identical to what happened through the Second World War, there's no reason why Korea can't turn into an absolute shit show. And it has over if you look at like history of Korea over like the past 1,000 years, it's like literally they go back and forth and the poor Koreans just get absolutely ground into the ground. So oh god, well, it looks like we got that ahead of us. Oh, party on, Wayne. But I do find it interesting, if you think about the 80-year cycle of that money cycle. So Second World War is 1940s. And of course, U.S. Civil War. Basically, the banks tried to break Mr. Lincoln and the Union. That was 1860s. And then let's go back another 80 years. Has anything sort of significant happened in the early 1780s? Oh, by the way, 1776 was right around that time. So you can even connect the dots here just over the past 80 years, going back 300-400 years, right? So there you go. Merry Christmas. It's funny, like just even now I can see you guys over on the YouTube page. Remember I said RHB 30001, if you are a KGB agent, please raise your hand. Do they still call them the KGB? I don't think they call them that anymore, do they? What are they called now? Anyway, maybe they are still called KGB agents. Anyway, our number one job, Mr. RHB 30001, is I would like for you to say NATO's fault, PMA for the win. Let's try and keep a positive spin on all of this. Nobody's here to sort of play the blame game. That's escalating the situation. Now our priority has got to be to de-escalate this. Because somebody's sitting on big old fat nuclear weapons, and it doesn't need to come to this. Thank you, Andre. Appreciate that. Like all of us, reach out to this RHB 30001 person. I don't give a shit whose fault it is, but for God's sakes, this can't turn into a fucking nuclear war. This is ridiculous. Oh well. Okay, so historical cycles. I mean, the irony of it all is there was a big old fat war right around exactly the same cycle just past last century. And the interesting thing is probably if the powers that be had their choice, they would prevent us from even being able to do this kind of analysis. So there you go. If anything, it's kind of fortunate that we can actually look back a good 100 years and go, holy shit, this is just the same shit. They're just doing all over again. It's the same damn thing. Well, we said, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. Anyway, okay. I did see Grim pop into the call here, so I guess that means that the level oneers are finished. So if anything, enough of Brian's silly rhetoric. A hope for peace, a hope for stopping violence. Call it silly rhetoric, but that's my hope. Please, please, please. FSB. All right, so that's what they're called now. They're called FSB. All right. Looks like crypto's catching a nice little bid here. And actually, that's one thing I did notice through the weekend. I wanted to show you that I saw there was sort of like this big push in social, immediately there was a bit, like talking about sanctions against who. There was a big push. Actually, that's not what I want to show. There's a big push to include cryptocurrencies in the sanctions and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was purely done by the banksters as sort of a, hey, this is an easy way for us to fuck the crypto kids over. Because frankly speaking, I think the banksters now look at crypto as competition. So any way they can wrap their arms around this competition and try and put it back in the box, they will. And what I was actually quite pleased to see, and it sort of filled my heart with joy, was to see the pushback from the community. And that was Mr. Funny Hair. I won't, I'm envious. I don't even have that hair. But I guess it was over here, this one here. I was pleased to see that people were like, yeah, there is some pushback, Brian. And actually there was I thought I had it on here, but there was articles put out about darn. Anyway, you saw that guy, right? What's his name? Sam. And Nick on our Wednesday shows, he's this guy right here, right? He's the lovable nerd. So I was exceedingly pleased to see this kind of news. And there are people that are promoting, the Ukrainians getting help with Bitcoin. I was ever so pleased to see that. Also, too, the oligarchs, I think they're actually starting to balk a little bit. So I was pleased to see that. And then just looking at price action, like one thing I noticed, market was coming off and Lagarde being her stupid, fucking mouthpiece lawyer self. One thing I was super pleased with was, of course, we have this algo on the site. And what's so great about algorithms is they just don't give a fuck. For lack of a better term. That's the scientific description of what's going on here. They just don't give a fuck. And the algo turned up in earnest about, I don't know, I think it was about halfway through Thursday or so. And the whole damn market reversed when Mr. Biden did his speech. And all of the risk assets were finally like, okay, so the West does have a backbone. It's all not one-sided. And, this Zelensky guy, wow, he actually could become a rallying point. And I got to say, man, as history goes, he's going to have a name in the history books. So very proud of that guy. He's got balls of steel. Very, very proud of him. Anyway, so the point of the matter here, regardless of whose side of the whole shit you're on, you got to be proud of the guy. He's definitely stood up to the bear. Whether he survives or not, that's another question altogether. But you got to be proud of him. I mean, he's one hell of a human being. Anyway, point of the matter here is the algos, they just don't give a fuck. They actually turned up last week, which I thought was fascinating. And then going back to the tweet, what I kind of saw happening here, what it looks like to me is they caught the bear on the run here. And I think this was just a nice short squeeze. And then we're starting to see news that was sort of supportive of Bitcoin and supportive of crypto. First off, it actually looks like there might actually be a run on Russian banks. And there might be actual, what I did find fascinating about the whole Saddam Hussein thing in Iraq and stuff like that is when they eventually ran into Saddam and captured him, he didn't have Russian rubles in his pockets. He didn't have Chinese yuan or renminbi or whatever the fuck you call that crap. he had a big whack of US dollars in his back pocket. And this is a question of how do you get the money to the people that need it desperately right away. And keep in mind, arms merchants, they don't negotiate. They don't give a shit. You either have the money or you don't. Simple as that. So what I found fascinating was all of these sort of, hey, you can't use the banking system. You can't trust the banking system. Fucking Lagarde, she, ironically enough, I mean, the worst part about it is these stupid banksters, they're probably half of the reason why these people are fighting to begin with. These people right here, they're half of the reason why these wars are going on. So you can't trust her to be unbiased. Even, whether it be the Russian side or the Ukrainian side, you can't trust the banksters. You don't know whose side they're on. So I was ever so pleased to see this kind of stuff. I mean, this is the whole reason why we did the whole Bitcoin and sort of cryptocurrencies, internet money, that kind of stuff, where you can basically bypass. You need to get somebody money really quickly. Boom, there you go. Merry Christmas. And what I thought was even more impressive, although, like I'm always bitching about the guy because, frankly speaking, I think he's not a very good advisor for the public. I think if you listen to him, you're going to get your ass kicked. But Mr. Musk came out and said that his internet Starlink system was up and running, and Ukraine can have all the internet that they want and need to keep this kind of this kind of shit going. And man, that is damn impressive. It will be things like this that will actually save Ukraine in the end, in my humble opinion. Regardless of whether you think it's some conspiracy, one side or the other, what I just want to see is I want to see open, one country invaded another country. We have to get to a point, hopefully, where in the world where that stops happening. That should not happen anymore in this world. But anyway, it has. Only history will tell. But I guess just with regard to crypto and Bitcoin, when I saw this is not a sell situation. In my opinion, this is bullish of Bitcoin and bullish of crypto. Of course, Lagarde and all them, they would prefer that this be shut down. But I saw just a massive backlash and a massive snapback. Like, shut the fuck up, you stupid banksters. And this just took over. And I saw, now maybe the banksters are on, weekend leave and they'll come back Monday and they'll shit on us once again. Who knows? But I was so impressed with this kind of sentiment in this space that it made me believe that, this rally, first off, I think they got the shorts caught, which is typical. You shouldn't be shorting in green boxes. You should not be shorting at Foggenbaum levels. Here is the M top way up here. But then, like I said, Ukraine might actually make it. All right, let's go start funneling. I think a lot of people went and bought Bitcoins and sent them on over. And, I had one conversation with a gentleman in the space where I was kind of like, well, we might find that people go and buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff with their fiat money, and then it gets maybe transferred to USDT, maybe Bitcoins, maybe Ethereum, maybe some other crypto, maybe even USDC, maybe USD whatever, Luna's stablecoin. Point is not all of that capital that's going in is going to come out. So as long, just the way, like on the side, I talked to you guys about how these the altcoin stories, they work and the prices keep going up as long as they keep having new projects. Why? Because that's more capital coming into the space, more capital getting locked up in these ICOs and whatever the hell they call them now, IDOs or whatever. So I could very easily see, and then also keep in mind too, that key resistance is not till way up here. That's, look left. And we've got some resistance points up in here. We have the big Wyckoff check level. That probably is going to get hit. We have the trend line, but I could very easily see that they got the shorts on the run here. And this is a typical A, B, C, D, which means that we could actually see price right back up against these old highs. That would not surprise me one bit. And then if we go and take out this high, that creates a big honking W. And you know what Brian thinks of those W's. So, and actually, I think I even saw Bert on here recently. Bert, if you don't know what I think about W's, obviously anybody who's followed me knows, and anybody who takes the courses and stuff obviously knows. But needless to say, where are we here? Come on, baby, give it to me. Come on. You're here. I know you are. There we are. I'm a big fan of the W's. Anyway. All right. So, and actually, an interesting dovetail to that is for about 2 or 3 weeks now. Well, I'm going to say 2 or 3 months. I was talking about. Which chart is it? I know you're on there somewhere. It's always a challenge to find these damn charts. I get too many of them. I don't know what I do with it. It's not over here. Must be over here. Boom. Nope. Close. Oh, no. Now we're moving further away. Yeah. Is it this one? No. Ah, darn. Oh, well. Anyway, I had a really cool Bitcoin chart that I was following for a while. And, darn. It's on here somewhere. I'll probably find it as soon as I hang up. Actually, you know what I think it is? I think it's over. It's not that one, right? No. I'm going to say it's over here. And, no. Darn. Oh, well, I did a chart up a while ago. You can see how nice and organized I am, eh? I did maybe I'll just do a new one here. I did up a chart a while ago where I thought maybe it's here. Let's see. Oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah, what's this one? Anyway, kind of thought that this kind of looks like a big honking head and shoulders. And what I just simply asked was, what was the duration of this sort of neckline test? When did we, because here at this point, we're clearly going straight down. Oh, the sky's falling. Then here, hey, actually, this thing's pretty good. So, it's a nice little sort of transition window. It's 12 hour. I could have sworn I totally had this chart all done up and everything. One more. Come on, baby. I know you're in here somewhere. Talk to me, baby. No, don't break my heart. No, can't find it. Oh, well, try and do this. So 138 bars. If this is some sort of big honking head and shoulders, you can kind of see, just eyeball it. All right, shoulder, neckline, head, neckline, shoulder, something like that, right? This transition from going I'm a bear back to I'm a bull, probably going to look pretty similar. So if that's the case, how long does this take? So you can see we're going down. Sky's falling. And then a lot of choppy chop. And this is what I'm worried about right now is we are in the choppy chop. Let's just, chew up those noobs and just break their hearts. So we'll put in a new M, right? Because that Beamish guy says M's are short. So let's put in an M, get them all to go short, and bang, stop them out. All right. Okay. Well, then let's go put in a W here. We'll put in a W and we'll break it on and bang. Well, they tried to, but they didn't quite. I guess there was a W over here. Anyway, it's W. And then, if anything, they went after the noob stop. And of course, clothesline people, they're going to see this as, lower highs and lower lows, broke those W's, new M's, right? And just screw you over fast through here. And that's what I kind of think that we're in right now. If anything, if you're relatively new to this game, I'd leave this kind of shit alone for now. Just let this thing settle down. and then when the market does actually go and put in, like that, like that, and then you get the breakout and it comes back and it tests the breakout and it holds and it turns back up. It's at this point, actually, right here, where things like our algo would actually turn back bullish. Because right now, ironically enough, the algo is pointing up, but the teal on the break above, it was still pointing down. So like I like to call this like a weak buy signal. Whereas like a strong buy signal is when teal is pointing up, the medium term is trending higher, and you get this check and then the quick snapback. And this translates into a very big, powerful move in the market. So what I'm sort of seeing, and I guess it's good to see, teal is slowly being encouraged to turn the corner here, right? If teal can turn, ironically enough, actually, if teal can turn the corner, and we can get like one more of those FU moves, like one more of these little FUs against the lows, and then the market turns back up, that could actually turn into a very, very powerful buy signal. Probably the best place to see that is down here. Yeah, so you can see choppy, 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 chop. Remember how long that lasted, right? So if we do it over here, right, panic low to breakout high, 47 bars. So clone that, put that over here. So panic low. Where is 47 bars? Oh, look at that. It's right around that April date. Remember I told you that this planetary shit doesn't come to an end until after that April 4th Mars, Saturn, Earth conjunct. So don't be surprised if the next couple weeks, especially with Vladdy fucking throwing around nuclear weapons here, don't be surprised if we're not quite out of the woods just yet. We got a little bit of backfilling to do here. Having said that, FUs against highs and against lows. I think if you just zoom in, you can clearly see resistance, and there's some gaps, and there's fog and bomb up here. So I think this is a perfectly valid level. We can even throw that on there, right up there. Boom, and we can go gap. So lots and lots of reasons to look for a trade up here. But here we are way down here. And we just made this new low. Could we go woohoo up here and then woohoo? Oh, Jesus Christ is up and down like a horse drawers. Absolutely, folks. And of course, you've heard me say before, wicks and tails like to be eaten. That is an awfully big tail. So you're pretty much assured at some point down the road, we are going to have to come back to that level. So I don't think we're out of the woods just yet. I think we're about halfway through this consolidation. And, heaven forbid we can somehow talk this guy out of power or off the ledge, or just, unfortunately now, this is what happens with these dangerous sort of megalomaniacs is he has to somehow come out of this looking like he won. And if he doesn't, dangerous, cornered raccoons. You ever seen what a raccoon does when it's cornered? It's an absolute mess. So, everybody, next month here, let's just hope this guy tries to settle down a little bit. Okay, so that gives you sort of prognostication of what I'm expecting. I think we are in a trading range. I was pleased, of course, that the algo turned back up, but the problem here is the algo doesn't give a shit. As soon as this move is exhausted, if we start getting signals, and if we can rally up top here, remember bull ABCDs, I showed you off of lower time frame charts. Geez, where did that one go now? Nope. No, actually, I think it was here, wasn't it? Is it this one? Oh, there's another one. What did I do with that damn chart? Sorry, guys. I hate when I do this. Too many charts open. Anyway, I was tweeting out A, B, C, Ds and such. Actually, I thought maybe I did it off of here. So this one? Oh, not that one. All right. Well, anyway, we'll just stick with the futures here for the time being because this is just too messy for you guys to wrap your head around. This is nuts. Brian, you're a sloppy bastard. Okay, so futures. Remember I showed you that ABCD I had there out on Twitter. Actually, maybe that's over here. Here we go. Brian's going to waste another 5 minutes looking for charts. Come on, baby. I know you're in here somewhere. No, you're not. Oh, well. I guess this is sort of that kind of thinking about what this bottom looks like. You can sort of see if I actually wanted to be a buyer, I want to buy down in here, but I want to see W. So give me a nice clean W down in here, please. But I was kind of thinking that looked like the market was trying to point higher there in the short term and did those little ABCDs. Up here, this chart. Once this is done, and if the algo rolls back over, oh god, we might just dump hard again here, guys. So be forewarned. If any, so hopefully I've given you my warning. I think we're only about halfway through this fuck you market, and there's lots more fuck yous to come here. I doubt this is going to be a straight line, and I doubt, sadly, this thing with the Russia is going to do. It's interesting how Mr. Biden said, well, we'll take a look and see how Russia's doing in a month. I wonder if he had some celestial guidance that said, you know what, don't do anything for the next month. Don't do anything. In a month's time, if he's still being a pain in the butt and public sentiment is heavily in your favor to do something, then get involved. And I listened to Boris Johnson last night and his presentation to the British Parliament. And he explicitly said that something was going to happen in the future, that they were planning on military event in the future. So, and somebody even in the backbencher questioned him. He said, wait a minute, you said that we're actually planning something for the future. And he quickly went, oh, no comment. I can't comment on that. So my hunch is that the West, and, interestingly enough, it's very similar to things like Pearl Harbor. It wasn't the next day that the Americans lashed back at the Japanese. It took them a month or two to get their shit together. But I have a funny feeling that actually the West is planning on escalating this. Fascinating. But anyway, so everybody just cool your fucking jets for the next month, okay, please? All right. And, the interesting thing is the rally off of this low, it produced some fucking insane trades. So if you are on your toes and you are a professional trader, there is bucket loads of money to make in this kind of market, but you better be fucking quick and you better be good. And you better not be like, oh, I keep making mistakes. I keep not obeying my setups. You still at that stage, you're not ready to trade this kind of market, but you got to be a sharpshooter. And I think a really, really good example of this is there was an altcoin that we're sort of watching at TRI. TRI obviously has a bit of a position in it. And we've done very well. And interestingly enough, just this past week, I think a really kick-ass trade setup came in here. And I even was tweeting out things like, holy shit, I could teach a course on this. It was interesting that, you see this big honkin' W. And I had one trade on here, but I think I took that one off. But actually, maybe it's still on here. Let's see. Oh, no, I have to go back to that. Fudge. All right. Well, the original trade that I had on here was because buy the big W and risk against the bottom. And by definition, we kind of want to shoot for a 2-to-1 risk reward. But, you have to ask yourself as a professional, is this a realistic target? Is this a realistic trade? Is this going to be, statistically, is this something that's almost like a no-brainer? Thinking that I'm going to buy against the bottom end of the range and I'm going to sell, and what is that? And I'm going to use a price target of 88.6 as a realistic objective. That's maybe not totally realistic. Thank you, Andre. Was it 4 months? I think it was actually a lot quicker than that. When was the Doolittle raid? So the Doolittle raid, I think, was in January, if I'm not mistaken. I can Google that, I suppose. Doolittle raid. Doolittle, how ironic, eh? Oh, it's April. Oh, you're right, sir. Oh, yeah. Yep, you are right. So, and interesting, there's April again. And remember, the gods of war, I think, are favoring Mr. Putin here until that April 4th. And after that, I think the tide's actually against him. So that's another reason why I think he really wants to get this thing done quickly. And a long, drawn-out sort of block-by-block war of attrition, that's not what he wants. That will not work in his favor. So you're right, sir. Indeed, you are correct. Okay, so back to our story about Luna. So this is those people that are more professional traders kind of conversation. People that are brand new to this, then don't get involved in this shit. You're just asking for trouble. But those people that are working with a plan, that understand setups, this is actually a pretty straightforward setup. This trade down against the bottom end of the range is what we call an L Tangonator on the site. Pretty good illustration. Everything's sort of matched the setup. Although I can't show you the damn little writing there. Anyway, there it is, L Tangonator. And what was fascinating about this setup is this 2-to-1 target realistic? And in essence, this was the 50% rule. So actually, it was very realistic. And what was really cool, and this is where the level oneers, this actually works into your current week, is notice that when I do an extension study off of the double bottom, so literally the moment that the market trades through this level, there, boink, you can draw this extension level, and this is the target of that extension study, or what I like to call the parking garage. 1.618, the golden ratio, up to 200%. Also, too, this is a really good illustration. Julian's really excited about using trend channels recently. So it's great to see. I mean, this is a level that we're a concept that we teach in our level 2 program. But notice if we just do a simple trend channel off of that low and that low, so just using the market structure, then I'm just going to drag the channel back to the most recent significant pivot high, which happens to be that high there. Oh, come on, you. Oh, something like that. I'm just, rough. Notice. And what I like to do is I like to use the midpoint of the channel and just ask whether price is respecting that level as sort of validation that, yeah, it looks like the market is working off of this channel. So what you notice here is there's the double bottom. There's the, on the breakout that confirms the W. Boom. If you draw a fib off of this range, there's the reload zone of that range. Great shopping location. And notice that is the original double bottom, the W there. And the interesting thing, of course, is that price was dumping down into this level here through a completely non-related news event, i.e. Vladdy waving his penis around there in Eastern Europe going, look how big I am. Nothing to do with Luna whatsoever. Whenever you get those kind of dumps and they dump the price into technical levels, you got to sit there and go, what's going on here? Needless to say, and this is it, and I even put a tweet out. This reminded me exactly of the insanity of March of 2000, when shouldn't we debate mortgaging our future? Shut the fuck up, right? All that insanity, and somebody actually lost their life through that event. That marked the bottom in the market. Sadly, a lot of people lost their lives through this fucking murderer. So, what do you do? I mean, is it okay to take advantage of non-related news to make money from trading? Gonna have to leave that's only a decision only you can answer. Is it morally reprehensible to step into the breach and buy when everybody else is freaking out and it's the end of the world? Sadly, I think this is sort of the banksters' bread and butter. This is what they thrive on. It's interesting, the level oneers today, big topic conversation is institutions buy down markets. So that means that they force themselves to step in and buy here. I suppose that mountain man level tag right there, right up against 88.6, I mean, that's the insane level. But just even if you had told me, well, Brian, I saw this big W and then I saw this little W over here, so I threw my bid in here and I said, look, I'm going to let this guy here, this guy here, this guy here, and this guy here defend me. So in essence, I'm coming in and that's my risk window right there. I'm going to let all these guys that stop the barrel, these are all institutional fingerprints. You can see where they stopped the previous bear runs and turned it back up. I'm going to let them defend my trade. Is it good? Is it morally right? Is it morally irreprehensible? I don't know. I mean, that's capitalism for you, I suppose. Could you go and buy this and then donate some of your winnings to good causes? That's not a bad idea. Anyway, I think that this was the professionals traders trade right there. I mean, absolutely textbook. So hit the 50% level of the range, which is just, very cliche. This is what markets do. It's also parking garage concept. So for the level oneers, I want you thinking confluence of levels. And also trend channel. For level twoers, you just learned trend channels. Really, really cool trend channel there, I got to say, folks. When I drew that out, I was like, damn, that's impressive. So that's what I think, and as an anatomy of how are you going to make money from trading based on this? Where the hell is it? This, I'll go buy signal. And what a surprise. There's Luna right up in the leaderboard. I suppose you could have hunted. What I like to do is I like to watch a list like this with the breadth indicator. And these are clearly the strongest names in crypto land. So if we get a buy signal from the broader breadth index, then all I got to do is just pull up my leaderboard list. Or, if you're on the site and you subscribe to the dashboard, you could always, if you see the buy signal in the crypto, then you just pull up, maybe you're on Binance. Obviously Binance has its own issues, but you pull up the Binance list, and then you just sort what are the hottest names, and there you go. So there's Luna versus Euro, BUSD versus UHA. I have no idea what the hell that is. These are all stable coins versus different fiat currencies, eh? Hey, there's Luna again. Look at that. Luna's hitting it versus Euro, versus Brazilian Real, versus Australian dollar. That's incredible. So it just goes to show that nothing slips by Swords. Yeah, that's great. That's fucking awesome. So there's your shopping list. And again, I'm speaking to the advanced traders here. I'm not speaking to like Joe Sixpack. Please understand that. Now, you could also argue too. Do you notice that what usually happens when this moving average gets a little bit far apart from teal, like when red gets far apart from teal? You often get these kickbacks, right? So you could say this is a kickback, this is a kickback. Ironically enough, that was a kickback, but this is a really big kickback. So to see that we've gone zooming all the way up here and teal is still just flat, what do you think the odds are that we're going to get a kickback here? Does that make sense what I'm saying? I suppose, this is another one, Chris, if you want to make a little note of this, like when we do our tutorial of how to use the algo system, this is a really good little piece. Call it the kickback. Yeah. So, and I love this about this dashboard. So maybe you trade on Binance. Well, maybe you do. Some people like Binance, others don't. Maybe you can't be on Binance because of Big Brother. So how about Kraken? So we can pop on over and take a look at Kraken. And we'll do our little filter. There are all the hot names over on Kraken. A lot of currency pairs. Hey, look at all that. Jesus, look at all the currency swaps you could do over here. That's remarkable, eh? Anyway, same sort of thing. Can you see how far away fast is from slow? Usually when they get this far apart, there's probably got to be some sort of check. So doesn't surprise me. Don't be surprised if we actually see a bit of pullback here. And it'd be interesting, like, to get the actual date, like exactly, specifically down to the hour of when this buy signal came in and where we should be, long Bitcoin if we were doing just the algo trade system. Be interesting to see if we are up, how much we're still up based on what we're seeing in the market. Because I could very easily see that once the adults sort of come back, in about 4 or 5 hours, we should probably hear about the adults coming back to the playground. And you can see this trade's over. It hit the top of the channel. It hit the parking garage. It hit the 50% level objective. And this probably also is even a mountain man tag. Let's see. Where is our little thingy jobby? Okay, I got to get to the question. Sorry, I'm wasting too much time here. RLZ. Oh, there's Mountain Man up here. All right, so actually this thing might even have a little bit more legs in it. And if anything, this is a really good example. Does Mountain Man have to get tagged? No. Would it be an institutional trade level? I think so. You might actually find that this thing goes like zing up here and then like something like that and eventually hits it. But so that's why I don't like using reload zones as target objectives. There's not really a guarantee that the market's going to trade back to there. But I will say something like, and Colin, even affectionately, he likes to call it for his community, the Colin pump chaser zone, which I think is great. I love sort of you guys putting your own personal spin on these things and then promoting your thinking. So there's Colin's pump chaser zone. I like to use the 50% rule, WD GAN. And then also, like I said, what I really want you all to get good at is identifying confluence. So parking garage, 50% rule, top of channel, 2-to-1 off of the double bottom. Clearly, this is an important level. And not a big surprise. Actually, it looks like there's an M that's coming in here. So it looks like the buying pressure has exhausted itself. Probably also, too, you're going to see the corn stuff come back. Like I said, I wouldn't, and unfortunately, what I'm concerned, oh boy, there's a big M that comes in there now. It looks to me like it looks like I think we got a high, low to high to another high to a pivot high. Looks like there was a bit of a pivot off of this level too, and then another high here. So clearly this high to low trend line stopped the bull in its tracks. Big old M. Now, this also might be news-driven, too. You might be hearing news that the Ukrainians just lost a major city. or the Russians broke through their lines, whatever. Something along those lines. I wouldn't be surprised if you actually see sentiment play in these quote unquote risk on assets as well. So anyway, there's your market for you. I really, really do like this sort of, how long did it take for this bottom to happen? Market is symmetrical. If this is some sort of big honking head and shoulders top, then it's the shoulder, or the neckline test. It's probably going to be about the same duration. Then we're going to go ripping back up top. I'm hearing the narrative that we're going to have another big wave of lockdowns. We're going to have another big wave of printing money, which, of course, if we do get all right, here goes the money printing machines, then this son of a bitch is going to take off like a rocket. So Edward says 34 bars. What I would just simply say, I did this earlier. I mean, there's so many different ways to interpret this. Where is the end of the selling? When did the buying start? 65 bars there. And if we go clone and we go boop, right, you can see we're sort of almost like halfway through this. Is there like another 34? Is that what you mean? We're only halfway through this shit. Oh, great. Oh, man. We're only halfway through, folks. And then, of course, what's supposed to happen on the other side of this 34 bars or, 64 bars? Big rally. So does that mean at the end of all this, we have some big nuclear war and the Fed's got to go print $1 million bazillion US dollars to try and stabilize the world? Who knows? And, of course, Bitcoin fucking takes off. I don't know. And you know what? I guarantee you we could all sit here, we could all make predictions, and none of us are going to be right. Hey, did we I see 70 people watching this, but is this? I think YouTube totally, yeah, okay. Sorry, Chris. I didn't have that updated anyway. Okay, oh boy. Okay, so hopefully I've given you lots of crypto talk. Talked a little bit about Bitcoin, and then I talked a little bit about an individual shitcoin that actually I think put in a pretty damn good trade, and hopefully a bunch of you made a bunch of money off of it, because we certainly did talk about it at TRI. And congratulations to Sjord. He did step in. He did take the trade, and he actually said that he was ringing the register there the other day. According to his trading plan, RSI was starting to look a little bit wonky up here. And so, because keep in mind, Sjord's basically managing this Luna position for TRI right now. So way to go, Sjord. And he was kind of like, you know what, 2-to-1, 50% rule, like you said, parking garage, and his momentum indicators were getting really wonky. Top of value. I mean, there's so many things that we could talk about here. So. Okay. Also, too, a little disappointed. Notice Binance here. Look what happens. You have this on a daily chart and you go, oh, okay, well, why is that high there? 106.29. And yet, why does he have his highs here? This doesn't make any sense. But watch what happens when you change this to a 4-hour chart. And it's gone. What the fuck? So if you're wondering why I had that off of that 103 level, I don't understand why this is printing like that. Is this actually done on purpose so that people are drawing like different fibs and different studies and stuff, and you're getting like 20 different messages? I don't know, but I did find that a bit odd, a little bit suspicious. Anyway, long and short of it here, looks like we're getting a bit of railroad tracks after just a straight line move up. The very minimum, you should expect probably a Wyckoff check there. So anyway, okay, let's get on to these questions. It's already noon. I got to get the hell out of here. Hopefully you guys didn't ask too much. All right, where are we here? Left off. Did we do all this? I thought oh yeah, remember? Oh boy, that was a big answer I had to give. Brian, what are you such an asshole? Well, because of this. Okay, did I answer these? You said the market cannot function. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Okay, so we'll go 227. I think that's today. One more week until I move. Oh boy. So actually, I'm officially into moving mode now. All right. Hi, BB. Hypothetically, if you can get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage on a rental property and have positive rental income, would that change your calculation on taking out a mortgage? Oh, I thought I already answered this. I don't mind you going and taking out a 30-year mortgage, locking it in. Be damn careful. Can the banks call your loan? Do you have like some sort of fine print that says after a certain amount of years, the interest rate resets to this rate? Those are the things that I'm really worried about. A lot of people buy variable rate mortgages. A lot of people buy short-term duration mortgages, and they call them teaser rates. It's very dangerous. Oh, by the way, can the other half of you over on YouTube please hit the like button, subscribe, and kiss my ass a little bit, please? Appreciate it. A nice big pucker. Come on, baby. Come on. Am I giving you any value? There's one. There's two. Anyway, if you feel like you're getting some value out of this, I'd appreciate the likes and all that stuff to make YouTube happy. Okay. So I don't mind if you can go and lock in a nice long-term mortgage down at the bottom here. I don't mind that at all whatsoever. That's actually pretty smart thinking. And of course, I could always come on camera and show you my ass. How do you think that'll go over on YouTube? I don't think. Hey, look at that. We actually lost some viewers. That's great. A couple of people went, fuck you. You're not going to extort me into a fucking like. Oh, that's great. So I really don't mind. I don't mind whatsoever. And, oh yeah, okay. So you can see it looks like I already answered. Okay. Oh, look at that. Not many questions. That's good. I can get ready to head off to Liam here. I just got to blow my schnoz. Just give me a second. Okay, number 2. I want to be a position trader. All right. I am supposed to make 100 paper trades before starting to trade with real money. How are 100 paper trades achievable with a time frame of several weeks per trade on position trading? It will take a year or more to finish the paper trades. I would say number 1, let's I left YouTube after pressing the like button. Oh, you're a sweetheart. Thanks, man. I would say, first and foremost, you can always accelerate your learning process on a site like TradingView with, let's see, there we go, with the replay function. So, hell, you could go back to Bitcoin and just simply practice. It's actually a fade to enter. What is this? Stamp, yeah. So you could go all the way back. Let's go back to the days of Roger Ver. You don't hear too much about Roger Ver anymore, right? But let's hit the replay button there. All right, and you guys so far you've learned just and really. If you're still in level 1, you're just learning how to do this. I told you to do paper trades now just to get into the habit of the process, logging, journaling, diarizing, tracking, all that kind of stuff. That's what you really have to learn in level 1. Build a plan. Learn the 2 setups, momentum, divergence, and trade location with market structure, L Tangonator, 50% rules your target, or learn trend continuation, bullish or bearish A, B, C, D, into parking garages, off of 3 higher lows or 3 lower highs, trend continuation. That's what you got to learn in level 1. And if you're not even at the point where you even know what the hell I just said there, then you're not even starting to learn yet. And there's a lot of stuff we have to teach you before you can even start to effectively hunt setups. I mean, it's a process. So anyway, I think we told you recently you can start using something like a relative strength index. Oh, look at that. Now they've got moving averages on relative strength indexes. How do you turn the moving average off? Oh, look at all this. There we go. Then we'll just make that yellow. I think in the lectures, I think I used to tell you I used to speed RSI up to 7. Don't worry too much about that. But what I want you, even here, right? You can see really good example. What happened when RSI? Oops, it's kind of weird. Oh, well, that should have worked. Maybe let's do white. And there it is. Actually, why don't we do green? So price makes a higher high, and RSI made a lower high. And then, we really want to learn about M's and W's. So I think you guys are getting to the point. Now you've, of course, learned about reload zones. So we have divergence. We have a market that's gone ridiculously up. So a big pullback. Brian says he wants me hunting reload zones. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Over here. So RLZs. And you notice, oh, gee whiz. That looks like a concept I just learned this past week, a reload short zone. So could you start practicing, and saying, looks like there's a big M up here. I'm going to try and sell the middle part of the M. A little bit difficult. I'm not going to say this is easy at all. But notice, oh, come on, you. Anyway, something like that. That is in a reload short zone. We've already got RSI and divergence. Of course, the market's at ridiculous highs. So where's a 2-to-1? Something like that. Oh, come on, you. Anyway, I'm not even quite sure where I started this, but I should have started right there. But point is, where did I start this? Oh, over there. Let's go back, and let's assume that we were doing so here. That's probably better. Okay, so there's your RSI div. Oh boy, huge M. Brian's always like, oh well, candle body lows for trade location. Maybe I'm going to try and get in on this M here, and I'll risk against that high, something like that. This M, I think, is too big. I mean, it's just too much money. But something like that's doable. Market's coming along here, and we're drawing our reload zones as we go. Whoops, that's way too fast. How do you go back? Oh, darn. I guess you can't, eh? All right, well, anyway, so here I was drawing my reload zone. You could have hit that mountain man level, and you could have hit that as the trade. I mean, you could have said, there's my trade. Boom. Even right off of there. And then same thing here. I'm assuming that that you didn't get that one, but you're hunting. So there's reload zone. So there's my level. And hell, I mean, you could just take a screenshot of that. Okay, Beamish guy says, I don't know, maybe we could do, I mean, it is a bit advanced, so I don't know whether I really want to get into this with the level oneers. But trying to think of things like trade location. 4.669 off of the old range. So it's not a big surprise. I think at some point I'll get around to doing this. Interesting how 2.618 is right into there. Look at the chaos that came in through that, eh? So 4.669 was ultimately the top. So could you say that this is potential trade location? Again, I don't know whether I really want you level oneers to get into that too much. That's a little bit difficult, but nonetheless, let's just assume that you're like, wow, huge top. Everybody's calling it top. We got bear divs. We got an RSI. I've learned that so far. So this Beamish guy says I should hunt M's. Okay, well, I'm just going to maybe go in and see if I can get short off of this M after this confirmed dip. Because frankly speaking, 2 out of 3, and then, throw a Falcon bomb in there. Well, now we can understand why we top there. But anyway, so here we are. I'm drawing my fibs. I'm a position trader. I'm going to short this level here, and I'm going to risk to new highs. And really my job, actually all the work is done now. So really now I just have to hit and I would even, in your log and your journal and stuff, I would even put in the screenshots as we're going along. All right, next day later, what happened? All right, next day later, what happened? So here we are. We're coming up into the level. Am I ready to go? Just watch it play out. So, oh, there you go. I just got filled. Oh, hey, that's nice. That worked out well. I mean, you have no idea, but just using the simple concepts that we taught you on the site, how am I feeling? As you're going through the market here, what did I think? What did I feel? Hey, there you go. Sasha says she loves somebody. Can I just sit there and do absolutely nothing and just see what's going to happen? Because keep in mind, half of our job as traders is to identify things like location, divergence, indicator confirmation, all that kind of stuff, market structure. Once we put the trade on, appropriate risk, then most of the work is actually over. Now we just go into, okay, let's see what the fuck happens. So, I mean, I haven't done anything here. I'm just watching. You could literally take every single Dow stock from, say, the 1987 crash and do exactly the same thing. I don't know what's going to happen here. Is this 2 to 1 level going to be taken out? Are the highs going to be taken out? I just don't know. I haven't got a clue. But I could very easily stop and say, okay, how am I feeling? What did I see? What do I see happening? How do I feel about, and also too would be really good is to try and find markets that move to extremes. And then you're going to, and then like I said, the key is, of course, things like divergence. That tells you, okay, this move's probably nearing an end. Remember there was some clown who was going, man, divergences in an RSI don't mean anything. How did that go? Oh, goodness. Anyway, so the point here is things are they're just marching along. And we don't even need to know what happens in the future, right? So, let's do it. You all know what happened. That trade would have worked. But let's go like IBM. Let's we'll end that, and let's just randomly we'll go we'll just go right here. All right, there we go. Now you can start. Right, literally, I don't know what the hell's going to happen next. Am I in a reload short zone? Am I in a reload long zone? Are there any bots? Are there any bull bear divs? I mean, hindsight's always 2020, but hopefully what you guys see when I just grab this date out of nowhere, hopefully you can see, well, gee whiz, looks like the RSI kind of bottomed here. And yet, actually, it looks like price made a lower low. What do we call that? Pretty big, eh? Boom, 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 boom. So, ironically enough, thinking long down here is not a terrible idea. I suppose we could probably even do a Falcon bomb off this. Although that's kind of teasing you guys. Actually it would be better is this is exactly what you guys learned, right? So, oh, what a surprise. Let's see, are there any level oneers on the call here? And actually, I might even go off of that low there, right? What do we call that level right there? Who can tell me what this level right here is called? Doink. Is that a good trade location? Okay, not bad. Garage. There is actually a very specific name for this. It'd be interesting. Sasha, since you love me so much, what do we call that number? That's so funny. I literally, hey, there you go. Michael got it. But Michael, I was hoping Sasha would be able to get it. So, I don't know. As a technician, would that be of any value to you for a trade location? It's pretty good. Now, remember, level oneers, I don't want you thinking about like getting too bullish here. If anything, what I want you thinking in the level one, and it's very hard for you to do this, but I actually want you thinking that AB clone CD. I want you thinking about taking profits down here. And I want you thinking, could the market reverse here? And then all of a sudden, oh, gee whiz, there's a big old divergence in momentum. And, the final coup de grace, all of this is, look at this beautiful little W right down here, right? Fit. So anyway, that's hindsight. So clearly, I don't want you doing that. That's before. Now I want you looking at this going, okay, well, now what do we do? And oh, gee whiz, it sure looks to me like we got a lower high and a higher high. What do we call that? It's exactly the same thing that happened here that set up this rally. Exact opposite now. Are we in a half decent trade location? And now, of course, you just learned this. Oh, turns out that was a reload short zone. So, I might argue that there's a fractal up here, but, for paper trading purposes, I really don't have a problem if you said, okay, well, that Beamish guy says M's are bearish. The only question is this in a reload zone? Looks like it's a little bit low, eh? So I don't know whether I'd really like this. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Luna trade, where you could take this big honking big W, but it produces this risk reward over here, which means that I can't take profits until it gets way up here. And is that even realistic? And we can clearly see, well, parking garage, that's where this thing stops. So that probably buying that big W, it's a bit of a tougher trade, but buying this sexy little bottom down here and looking to take profits at the 2-to-1 off of there at the parking garage and the 50% roll, I think that was the trade. So same sort of thing. You might have to sit here and go, you know what? I don't like that location. If I am going to take a trade here, what I want to do is like reload zone and 50% roll. Whoops. That's my target. I want to get a 2-to-1 on this trade. Oops, what's going on here? That was weird. What the fuck just happened? Wow, look at that. I did something screwy there. Okay, I don't know what the hell I just did. Anyway, I thought we had it come all the way down here and then go up here, but something weird happened. Maybe I have to go back there or something. Yeah, piece of shit. Oh well. Actually, I'm getting hungry and I'm getting tired, so I should stop talking. Okay, let's keep moving forward. We can abandon that. Hopefully you got the idea of how to go and find paper trades for you in the past. Give you a nice little walkthrough there. Okay, if I only position trade setups with the little old lady strategy, is it possible to outperform the S&P 500 over the longer time frame of 10 years plus? I think it's clearly, if you're talking like a 10-year time window, then it's entirely predicated on if you happen to catch a bull market or a bear market. I mean, you tell me if Amazon.com was one of your little old lady picks from, actually, that'd be a really interesting study to figure out. Let's see, just, hypothetically, and we'll go off of this, stupid IBM. If we go AMZM, did it go up 20-fold from its original bottom? And let's even say that you didn't chase this, you didn't buy it here, but you bought the reload zone test somewhere down in here. It looks like there's nice inverted head and shoulders down here. So let's say you invested little old lady style right off of that neckline at $17.53. So remember, little old lady's going to put 5% of her stake into any one name, and she's going to sell half on a double. So 17.53, that means what? $34, $35, $36. Out goes half. So that's in that area. If you just wanted to leave the rest of it on the books and not do anything, did this go up? And this is just one position, and it represents now here 2.5% of your portfolio. So the other, well, your original capital is all back in your hands. So it would be really interesting. Let's just hypothetically say that this is the only position that you had on. And from then till now, how is this position done? So if we go like percentage increase here, come on, you. All right. Here we are here now. All right, so that's 8,000% return. Not bad. So who can do some math here? If you just left the other 2.5% in the portfolio, and you have all your original money back in your hands. So let's just say hypothetically you started with like 10, excuse me, 10K. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Dow bottomed at about 7,000 around the same time. So let's put this away, and we'll go MD. I think that's what it is. Or something. No, it's DJI. Which is the one that? Yeah. Which is the one that TradingView uses as its sort of default? That's got all the data. DJI. Okay, there it is. Okay, so there's the Dow. Let's get rid of the volume for now, and let's put the Dow. Oh, there we go. Scale. Come on, you. Okay. Okay, well, where is the scale? How do you do that? I thought you right-clicked on that. Move to. There we go. Well, I suppose we can do it this way too. All right. So this went up 8,000%, and over the same time period, the Dow went up 271%. So if you, we're going to put 5% of your portfolio in, so that's $500. And that's original $250. Times, who's got a calculator? Got a calculator on here. Okay, so 250 times 8,000. So what is that? That's 81x. 81.69 times your money. Does that sound about right? 81 168% return. That 81 times your money. Who can confirm that? I think I did my math right. Anyway, I think that's right. So what does that equal? All right. Boom. 20,422. So what this says is I invested one issue, my little old lady account. That's the only trade I did. And my account now, and this is just with one trade, and obviously it's fucking, brilliant trade, but we'll even assume that the rest of the portfolio died. Well, actually, maybe we won't do that. But 271, that means 2.7 times your money, right? So 2.7 times 10K, you put the whole damn thing in, and it was all at risk here. Buy and hold. Then that means, well, I guess this makes sense. So your ending balance here is 20,400. And you still have the original 10K. But if we assume that you are the worst investor possible and you lost all of the other 10K, we said this was 10K. This will eventually turn out to be 271. 27. 27,100, right? So 2.7 times your money. So just with one winning little old lady trade, and if hypothetically, of course, right, that was all you did, and you left the other cash just in cash, well, then technically this is 20,400. That beats buy and hold, having all of your money invested in one name. Now, I'm not saying you're going to do this. Nobody said you're going to do this. This is just one illustration. And this is assuming, you only did one trade, and it turns out the trade was a monster trade. I might make the argument, actually, you should probably even do even better. Because what should happen with things like little old lady is you're going to have one or two of these outliers, but most of them are going to produce doubles and triples, and that's about it. Which is basically what this is. This is 2.71. This is basically a little bit more than a double, a little bit less than a triple. That's what you did with buy and hold over this time period. Whereas you're going to be recycling those 5%, right? Because as soon as your money doubles, boom, the money goes right back into the pile again. You're starting at scratch again. So, how long is this? This is like what, 20-year period. How many rollovers are you going to have of this original 10K? As long as you get your original money back, sell half on a double, then you're basically starting right at scratch again. You take the free stock, throw it onto some sort of side pile. And, like I took like $500 in the crypto space, bought some Bitcoin with it. And I think even now with all the Trek shit, I got like over 200 coins over there. And I'm not even doing much in crypto these days anymore. I just left it alone after I did that thing. So I think the short answer, this is just a simple illustration of just one name where this is less than 5% of your portfolio. It's 2.5% of your original stake. And it turns into like 20 G's. What happens if you have like 5 of these names that do half as good as this? Not as good, but half as good. Well, then the numbers just get staggering. Yeah, there you go. So I would say on balance, the little old lady will dramatically outperform. But also notice too, and this is where most people fail at this game. When you look at this chart, notice there's long periods of time where you're supposed to do absolutely nothing. I mean, look at this period here, right? You sold half on a double, and it didn't get back to sort of rally mode. Really, I might argue that, what is that? That's 2,200? No, that can't be right. Oh, this is percentage. And that's 36. and it came all the way right back down to 25. But through all this, you do absolutely nothing. And you're going to be like, "Yeah, but Brian, look at this stock index. Let's go. Let's go." Oh, okay, fine. But I don't care. I'm on to the next name. Throw this on the pile and forget about it. Yeah, well, that's the point is, and I try to tell people this, although, man, I'll tell you, it's damn difficult. What is your risk of ownership of this asset as of this date right here? What's your risk of ownership? So somebody says that's assuming you had the patience to wait 20 years and didn't sell Amazon. I don't know whether you've seen this. I don't know whether I can show you. I'm not allowed to show it to you guys because it's got account numbers. Let's see if I can show you on the website. I think Sjord's got it in here. Where the hell is it? I think it's this thing over here. Who can tell me what's the cost basis on all of these coins for me? Do I really even give a shit? Wait, Mr. Francis, that's assuming you sell. Who can tell me what is the cost basis for these coins that I own here? I mean, look at that. Look how much cash I have just sitting there. And actually, that's only half the cash. I sent another 50,000 back to the bank to pay taxes. And you can see this is sitting at 263 G's after we've already taken out about $200,000 out of this already, by the way. What's my cost to own this? Nothing. Not a penny. Do I even care if they go off the books? Not really. This was more of a fun experiment to try and show. Yeah, not some. Andre, a lot will. And, as I showed in this example right here, all it takes is one or two to win. And Trex, I'll tell you, Trex is, I think, literally delisted about a third of the names that we had here. But so what? What's my cost basis? Do I really give a shit? And interestingly enough, actually, technically, I should be building up a whole bunch of capital losses that I can actually use going forward as a way to reduce capital gains taxes if I do decide to sell any of this. So, yeah, I would just simply say the little old lady approach it's so simple and it's so pure. But the problem is that we humans, we're impatient and we want to go buy the shiny objects and stuff. And so as a result, we end up tinkering and you kind of blow stuff up. And I'm going to wholeheartedly agree with that analysis. Half of the time why we screw up in this game of investing is our emotions actually get involved in this equation. I mean, the interesting thing is Mr. Tesla has been long at Tesla a very long period of time, but he's only decided to cash out now. He could have cashed out here, and he wouldn't have made nearly the return. Now he's looking at. So when do you decide to sell? I mean, I'm the type of guy where I would say, probably try and hold on to a little bit of this because you never know what the hell's going to happen in the future. This thing might fucking 10x again. So anyway, okay, let's keep moving forward here. Highly successful investor like Warren Buffett says it's extremely hard to beat the S&P 500 consistently and over many years. What are your thoughts on this? Absolutely, because most of the public, they are far too impatient. They can't just invest in something and just leave it alone. And ironically enough, how does Warren Buffett get rich? Ironically enough, he got rich by buying into companies that he figured were good fundamental value and just leaving it alone. Um, the interesting thing about this, and I get a little bit bothered by the fact that people look at Buffett and they think whatever he says just sun shines out of his ass. I remember specifically at the end of the dot-com boom where value stocks really did very poorly. He actually had to stand up in front of his shareholders and apologize for the shitty underperformance of Berkshire Hathaway. So I could have very easily had a conversation with you when most of the people on the street were thinking Warren Buffett was washed out. He was beyond his days. He should retire. I mean, it's just the way the market goes. And then, of course, we go into a value market, which is what we just had over the past 10, 20 years. And now the guy looks like a fucking genius. We're going to go back into a growth environment. People are going to be buying beach balls. I think he calls beach balls rat poison. And he's going to look like a doofus again. It just goes back and forth, back and forth. He's, I hate to say it, Warren Buffett is no different than what's that funny chick that got all the rage there a year or two ago during that sort of silly market state? Kathy Woods. No difference. Same thing. Warren Buffett's no different than that CNBC guy we were barking about earlier. No different. They're all the same. So that's my answer to you. Can you beat the S&P 500 doing what we do at TRI? Handily. We make it look embarrassing if you want to participate that way in the market. But what it also means is that when we're in bear markets, we just sit here and don't really do a hell of a lot. And I got to tell you, over the past year or two, what have I been practicing over the past year or so? I mean, there was the fun DeFi market, and it was great watching the boys making a killing on things like Luna and stuff. And that's awesome. And of course, I even traded that with them on my funny little Trex account. But what have I actually been practicing over the past year or so in the market? I've been sharpening up my day trading skills and getting better to the point where I want to go back and be able to pass Top Steps combines. Be demonstrator of best practices for you guys. So actually, ironically enough, that's where my effort is. My effort right now is not on investing in shitcoins because frankly speaking, I don't think there's a hell of a lot of money to be made there right now. That's right now. In a year or two, when everybody's completely lost interest and we start putting in weekly W's on these charts again, well, then we'll start getting back rah bullish on venture and small caps. But right now, no. A really good example, crypto is the same damn thing, but a really good example. Mara is a stock market proxy for crypto, so you tell me. Aside from my funny little trading. Oh, come on, you. No. Which one is it? There we go. Do we have any weekly W's working here yet? Is this a name that I should be thinking about investing in? I don't think so. I think if anything, just like Bitcoin, I think we have a big honking head and shoulders that's forming here. Which means they're probably going to rally back up into that area. There could be a nice trade here, but I do not think that this is value. I remember value was down here, right? Weekly W's, all that kind of stuff. Way down here when they were just giving it away. Big pop, come back, fill in the gaps, reload zones, all that kind of talk. Down in here. But up here, I could easily see that we spend sort of the decennial cycle calls for a rally into the end of the year. I do like that kind of thinking that especially through the summer months, we should get a half decent rally in crypto. Do we go to new highs? I don't think so, but that's just opinion. Don't trade people's opinions, just trade setups, folks. So And something like that, it's kind of, yeah, there might be a trade there, this kind of rally here. But might coming in, is really good example is Galaxy. There it is, $15. Maybe like bot setups, that kind of stuff. But the place to be loading up on this thing, of course, like a doofus, I was selling down here because I got chicken shit when it dumped through these lows here. But I should have just gone right back and bought this son of a bitch right there, Said, screw it, put your ego away, get back in. Anyway, and that's the end result. But are we in that kind of environment now? We just broke to new lows here. So, don't think this is good investing landscape. This, I think, was better. So, probably even do we have like a bullish divergence on this move? A little bit in RSI, not really great. Looks like we had a bit of a div there in MACD. But this low here, and you can even see the little double bottom there, higher than this low here. So that's all through here, and that's that low there. So, yeah, sort of. It's not the best example. Oh yeah, well yeah, it is. So lower low, lower low, lower low in price, not lower low in momentum. So that's the kind of stuff. There's a weekly chart. You want to see those weekly divs. In fact, I remember the bottom in Bitcoin, same damn thing. That was back, I think it was in here. Yeah, there it is. So lower lows in price, higher lows in momentum, breakout, bull div is in place. Wouldn't you be happy if you had gone and bought that W right there? Bull div already in place. So what was the question again? Question was I think you can do better than the S&P 500 easily. Are you like going to be a mutual fund investor? Well, maybe you're just going to match the market. You're going to be some educated guy just sitting there watching CNBC, picking stocks right, left, and center and acting emotionally in the market. You're pretty much just throwing your money away. And I think Mr. Buffett would be right there. So how professional are you? How educated are you? I can't answer those questions. But if you're educated and you're professional and you're working with a plan, and you know what you're doing, and you follow the shit that we try and teach you on the site, you should easily outperform the stock market. All right, number 4, how far back would you draw a fib retracement using a weekly chart? I have seen some go back to March 2020. Would you go back further? If so, why? Oh, Tommy said, holy shit, I gotta get out of here. What I usually tell people is just try and find swing highs and swing lows. So also too, good idea, Mr. Gann, big fan of 50% rules of 52-week ranges. So think of like the Earth's orbit around the sun. Every year we have a new sort of reset. I would think, especially if we have also too, a good sort of reference is every time that Bitcoin does a halvening, I think that also can justify sort of okay, that's the lows that we should work with, because technically the fundamental situation here with the halvening where it is now is different than the fundamental situation here. Remember, in a weird sort of way, Bitcoin is a rise only market because every couple of years the fundamentals keep changing. So because of that, I think your best, the way I would approach it is, number 1, 52-week range. So try and use that. Number 2, think of swing high and swing low, because really all the fib study does is it just highlights where are the sort of percentage windows. And usually markets like to turn 70 to 80% of whatever their previous range is. So, even these are, it is a weekly chart. So something like that, 70 to 80%, drawing a study like that, I think is perfectly relevant. Also, too, like I said, we should probably draw our 52-week range, which takes us back into that. Well, and that is basically the range over the past 52 weeks. So that also aligns with that. Then thinking bigger picture, I like the idea that, well, we know that there was a halvening over here, and clearly we have a pretty darn big base down in here. We know that the cost of production is rising along these lines. So using those as a base for price and then drawing your 70, 80% correction, you start to see confluence. And really, that's what I really want you thinking here. Is no one study is like, okay, this one study is it. How many reasons are we supposed to have to justify taking a trade? So what I want you thinking about is confluence of levels. Oh, well, we've got like a big monthly W level. That's a pretty important level. We got a big quarterly breakout level. That's a big level. That was an old all-time high. Looks like we have a hell of a battle at that old all-time high, and then we accepted above. All right, so then that means this was the old halvening lows. There's the range. Simon Dixon says, 70, 80% correction. And oh, gee whiz, that happens to line up with these old breakout levels nicely. So now you got levels to work with. And then, as I said here in the short term, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. You want to buy this bull. I like the idea of using the reload zone just because this is, in essence, the high and low of the past 52-week range. So, and then going back up, I don't know whether this is the low, but if it does hold and we W out here, I draw the low off of that back high. Again, what is the most recent 52-week range? So something like that. Now we have basically a nice little trading range established for the past year. And gee whiz, turns out this actually isn't trending. It's actually a range market. Bottom end of the range, top end of the range, just playing ping pong back and forth. Okay, so think of, specifically with regard to Bitcoin, and probably this is also a good thing, like 3 to 5 year time horizon. It's not a bad sort of range to measure, sort of weekly. He used to have a guy, Kenny Roberts, I trade with, and he said he only hunted 5 to 10 year lows. Lows or highs in price. And if the commodity wasn't at a 5 to 10 year low or high in price, then he did nothing. So I hope that helps. All right. I have trouble trading the 4-hour time frame and even daily at times. My timing is off when it comes to entering a trade. What can I do? Well, I mean, the interesting thing is with the 3-step process, it's actually really difficult. And the Bitcoin chart, I think, is a really good example of that. So difficult to screw up. I don't know what difficult something. But where should I show you this? I can do it here. I guess that Luna chart, that was the chart that had it right here. Yeah. So, this is a daily chart. You can see the big W. What I found interesting was 4 hours. Drill down. Clearly, we have trade location down here. Yeah, it's an interesting location. I actually would like it a little bit lower, but we won't go there just yet. Rally off the bottom, pull back into reload zone, then a tight little W, then exploded and confirmed the W. So, that's a big thing I want you to learn. Do you need to go through the paper trading process and just take this big W and live with the results? It's not a bad idea for you to be doing that in level 1 now. But as I illustrated on this one, and this gets really advanced, don't think you're going to be able to master this in a week or two. This will take years to really get going well at it. But you drill down to your lower time frames, then you notice, hey, I got this low, reload zones. That actually made a W. I can throw a bid in down in the reload zone. Or if you're like super focused, that would be like Mr. Slowpoke. But if you're Mr. Super Focused, and you'll learn this next week, that the pullback into reload zone actually created an inside bar buy signal right off of that level right there. So you'll actually learn in the class that you tools, now I'm down on the lower time frame. I've already got my reload zones. You've already learned that. And now I've got my sharpshooter killer trade entry tools. And you tell me, had you taken that inside bar reversal? You haven't learned it yet, but this is basically in your candlesticks module. If you took that trade there, how would you feel about timing the market? I think you'd be like, fucking hey, man, I'm a trading god. Hell, I wouldn't really have a problem if you had just bought this W here. You would have been like, oh, I'm a trading god. Oh, I'm a trading idiot. But really, nothing happened. It wasn't really any change. So that's what I'm trying to teach you here at TRI. The only problem here is when you say, I have trouble trading in 4-hour time frame and my timing is off. When it comes to entering a trade, what can I do? My suggestion to you is if you're in the level 1 program, you don't know what you're doing. So first off, just stop. You're paper trading. You want to buy W's to practice, log, journal, find 100 W's for your spreadsheet. So your subconscious goes, gee whiz, after these things, W, if you can buy the W, that works pretty well. And then at that point, then you go, okay, I can place an open order to buy at the W level. And doink, I just got filled. Merry Christmas. And oh, that wasn't very smart. Oh, actually, it doesn't look too bad. Oh, look at that. Oh, fuck it. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so smart. Look at me. You want to buy my course? That's usually how it goes. You get a couple of those, you get somewhat good at that, and then all of a sudden now you're going to be a professional. You're going to be teaching other people how to do this. So my suggestion is, go through the level 1 program. All you're doing is paper trading. Now all you should be doing is trying to hunt W's. See if I can practice putting a little trade metric thing on my chart, putting the risk below the W completely, putting my reward at 2-to-1 or whatever the W is, and then just tracking what happens. You got to do that like 100 times. Then we're going to sprinkle in, well, what happens when you do it after a confirmed bullish divergence? Well, what's that? Well, we're going to teach you, now you should know the basics of RSI divs, but we'll teach you a MACD, OBV, Williams percentage R, so you'll have lots and lots of ways to identify these divergences. And then you hunt a W following the confirmed bullish divergence. What happens? Oh, it turns out that actually the trades work a lot, right? And that is the process of you learning. And that is how you're going to get over this. Right now, I would assume you have terrible timing. None of you can time anything. You got to learn that 3-step process: location, indicator confirmation, market structure. Now you got some timing tools. If it takes you through the whole level 1 just to learn that, and then at the end of level 1, you're like, okay, now I think I know how the bot works. Now I think I know how the L-Tanganator works. And you want to spend 6 months at that point just practicing those 2 setups just so you can get that timing down before you move on in the education program? I don't mind that. That's not a bad idea. In fact, one of our Wednesday show co-hosts said he was going to do exactly that. And I suggested that was a smart idea of him to buy all 3 level 3s ahead of time, because with the way the inflation's going right now, it's the price might be 2 or 3 times that higher than what it is currently when you get around to actually you're ready to take the courses, level 2 and level 3. So, all right, hope that helps. Can you use fib extension retrace on momentum indicators? Yeah. I've seen people do this before and they're like, wow, man, that's so cool. I mean, okay. It wouldn't be something I would teach, but I have seen that it does work. The only problem here, though, is we use things like fibs on price to identify trade location so that we can come in at the bottom of a range and we know exactly what we're going to risk to. And theoretically, if we get a test of the other side of the range, then that produces better than 2-to-1 risk reward. I mean, that's why we really use these trade location tools. So to try and use a fib tool on an indicator kind of defeats the purpose of why I'm teaching you these trade location tools. If you want to do this down the road and apply these kind of concepts, I'd love for you to show me how you're going to incorporate this kind of thinking into a 3-step setup. First, I look for this, then I look for this, then I look for this. I got my 3 unrelated reasons, and then I go. And if you want to show me a trade setup that includes doing fib studies off of indicators to help you, there's a million different ways to skin the cat. I think I told you in the level 1 course, I used to have guys that would come up with the craziest reasons to buy and sell stocks, including, silly things like, well, I fed Rover last night and the dog food all spilled over on the left side of the bowl. And usually when that happens, the stock market goes up. So buy me 5 contracts of the S&P 500, Brian. Okay. I mean, the whole point of a setup is so that you don't act like, oh, Brian, I don't know what the fuck to do. I haven't got a fucking clue what's going on here. Should I buy or should I sell? I got to do something. Oh, fuck it. Sell. I mean, don't do that. That's the way you lose money because the market is designed to feed on your emotions. So usually at the bottom of the market, you're most, sell. And at the top of the market, you actually want to buy more. So, long story short, you can put a setup together where this is one of your reasons. I buy when RSI is in reload zones. Okay. But then what I want to see is I want to see 20 paper trades with this setup and the criteria clearly articulated so that everybody looking at your diary can understand the logic of what your setup is. And then I want to see 21/10 account size trades. So then that way I know you can manage yourself with real money. And if you can show me after those 40 trades more than 2/3 accuracy where 2-to-1 risk reward levels are hit, I'll subscribe to your newsletter. And hell, I'll even put the setup on the website. So I hope that helps answer the question. Do I do this personally? No, it's just too much work. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, I hope you see, especially guys on the site, Monday to Friday, watching the market and trading the futures markets. I try to keep things as clean and as simple as possible. So what I'll do is I'll draw levels, and then when we actually get into the levels, then all I'm doing at that point, and probably like something like crude's probably a good example, is all I'm doing, like we're coming into a level here, right? You can see the ATR level. So all I'm doing at that point, and this one was insane down here. But all I'm doing at that point when we come down into those levels is I'm going down to the lower time frames and hunting those divergences, right? So you can clearly see making higher lows, making lower lows, and then in comes market structure, and away you go. Huge trade. Willie's stupid. You'll learn that, right? El Tango Nader setup. Try not to overthink this. It's hard enough to make money at this game. So I try to think as least amount as possible. Well, what it starts out for me always is trade location. Location, location, location. All right, that's that. It's 1 o'clock now. I think I've been blabbing away for a couple hours. So I think we'll probably leave it at that. My apologies for ranting so much there about the situation in Eastern Europe to start the show off. Kind of screwed up the whole timing thing again, but hey, I'm just trying my best. Everybody give me a big wish me luck with Liam. I love when you guys do that. I can actually feel the karmic difference when I'm with him. So please give me a big, good luck, good karma wishes for Liam today. And I hope you guys, especially people who watch this channel regularly, I hope you all see that, when someone like Liam with severe autism, low functioning, money doesn't matter. Money doesn't make a fucking rat's ass of difference. And it just makes me so sad about people like, Putin and stuff, guy's worth like $200 billion or whatever. And it wouldn't matter if you had 10 times that amount of money. If you get in Liam's way and you're doing something that Liam doesn't like, he's going to come along and headbang you. And trust me, it hurts. I was showing people on this site a while ago. Liam decided to take my arm out one day, and the bruises. Wow. I mean, it's incredible, the bruising. So that's my biggest challenge in life. Everything with regard to the market and money and you norms trying to get you to manage your own behavior. I mean, you're so fucking lucky you don't have to live Liam's life. So if anything, it's really good that I spend as much time with Liam, because it just reminds me about what this life is actually all about. And it has very, very little to do with oligarchs and money accumulation and this perception of power and the frivolity of all this existence. So if anything, what I would strongly suggest all of you do, it might be a bit humbling for you, but maybe go out of your way one day in the not too distant future and go to like a special needs like community center where a lot of these agencies here in Canada, they have sort of unfortunately with COVID and all this, they've had to shut a lot of them down, but sort of like community centers for special needs people living in care. And you see how absolutely horrific this stupid human existence can actually be like. It makes our problems as norms actually laughable. And it makes somebody like Vladimir Putin look like a total fucking idiot because he just doesn't get this universe. And, I was telling somebody the other day, I remember about 20 years ago, I read this message from the future, and I think it was like year 2300 or something like that. And they said that at some point about 2200 or so, that humans actually got to the point then for them that they realized that humanity is nothing more than the universe itself reaching consciousness. So, I mean, we're all made of stardust. We all are technically part of this universe. I'll tell you, if you can look at it from that perspective, then it actually makes this kind of stuff with my funny little planets and stuff. It makes all of this actually makes sense. I don't know where the hell the damn tweet is, but you guys know, with my funny little planet zipping around and stuff. Try and see the bigger picture. What is your role in this universe? And for God's sakes, let's all maybe just take a moment and pray for somebody like Vladimir Putin. For God's sakes, can you please see the light, sir? Why are you here? What's your point? I mean, I love these two. This is so beautifully Canadian. Love these two. And the weird thing is that our leader, even in Canada, he's lost complete sight of this. We're just humans. We're just people just trying to get along here on this silly planet. It's so sad. So just understand, folks, there are bigger things at work here. Let's not get sucked into this. Remember, your job, ironically enough, as a trader, we all know what our jobs are. But I would even say as a human, now, unfortunately, with the way this guy's acting, our job is just to make damn sure we can live tomorrow. Oh, goodness. Crazy world. Anyway, thank you very much for your time and your attention to me. I hope I'm deserveth of it. Gonna try my best. It's the only thing I can do for all you people. My promise to you is I try my best. I try to come from a good place, good intentions. And I think we do pretty good value here. We're not trying to bullshit you. I'm not going to say this is easy. Nobody said this is easy at all. But I think that if you really put your nose to the grindstone, really learn these little tells of capitalism, that it can make a material difference. And once you learn, your job actually is to try and pass that on to the next guy. Let's see if we can somehow try and make a positive difference in this world. All right, everybody. Peace be with you all. Have yourselves as good a day as you possibly can. PMA for the win. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. The only thing left for me to say is bye for now.